My next guest is finally returning to action. Next Saturday, he's going to be heading to Singapore. It is Garrett Armfield back here on the program. Garrett, how are you, man?
I've been doing great, man. Thank you for having me today, James.
No, thank you for joining me, man. Good to just see you get a fight. I know it's been a rough little bit year and a bit. I don't know if you're like avoiding any like broken mirrors or any black cats, but I know you had the
Oh
staph
yeah, at this point.
infection. Yeah, you had the staph infection. Then you had the fight with Johnson, which he had a medical issue. So I know it's been a really sort of difficult time not getting to fight. It's a bummer when you're not fighting.
Yeah, it really is. Especially whenever like after your first fight, you're like, all right, this is like the year I make my run. Like I start to get noticed. And it took a little bit of time to start getting the ball rolling, but I really feel like I'm gonna be ready. And I'm just if anything, I've just gotten better and I'm be more of a problem for the division. The more time that it takes that I get to train, the better you become, the better fighter you are. And I think it's in all, I think it's going to be, it's like a blessing in disguise that I'll be able to put so much more time into my craft.
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it, and something we were chatting about off air. Not in Florida anymore, back home in Missouri. You're training at Marathon MMA, which for people who don't know, Trey Ogden's gym. He's taken a number of fighters, from the old Glory crew. I know Miles John's there, Mike Breeden.
Yep.
So I know it's like a specialized camp. Just tell me how that all sort of came together, and the decision to, move from Florida, which I know it's not cheap living out in Florida either, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not. That was probably one of the bigger reasons is, I was ready to be home, kind of closer to family, save more money, be able to, play around with like investments and stuff a little bit more, especially once I start making a little bit more money from fighting. Um, like a big thing I thought it was, or I know it was that like being so far away from home, it can make you like really feel like you're kind of missing out on like watching like your family and all your nieces and nephews grow up. And family's a really big part of me. I come from a small family or a big family of, there's 5 kids and my parents and all that. And now there's like 10 nieces and nephews. And so to be able to be close, it's just awesome, man. Like at the drop of a hat, I can just drive across the state to St. Louis and go spend time with my family. My dad just retired as well, so I'm so happy for him. It was a long time coming, and so now it's like if he wants to pick up and go fishing, I can be able to do that, and I can spend a lot more time with them. My family has got a special place in my heart for all of that. Just like anybody else. But so it just makes it a lot easier. The UFC, man, it's been crazy the past like 6 months since February when I was supposed to fight. Let's see. Right after I fought, I had vacation planned with my family actually, so I went on vacation with them. So that's why I didn't also get a quick fight. And then I also had a bad bout of pink eye where I was like bedridden for 3 to 4 weeks. Actually, I couldn't train, I couldn't see. Actually, my vision was completely blurred for about 3 weeks to a month. And so it took me to actually go to an eye specialist to finally get it figured out. So I'm back healthy, back normal, can see again. And then, I had this time where I was like, well, I haven't been training. I've been wanting to make this move for a while. I've been wanting to get closer to family for a while now. And so I felt like the right time. So I went out to Kansas, Overland Park, and checked out the gym for a week. And, a fear of mine was that I was going to get there and I was going to have like the amount of training partners to get some good rounds in. And boy, was I wrong. Trey's really molded a lot of these up and coming pros, and they call it marathon for a reason. He trains them to be able to push a pace, and so actually, I got some really tough rounds, and I've got a great training controlled. This camp, it's been not, I wouldn't say like revolved around me, but I've gotten a lot of focus and a lot of attention. I mean, I've get 4 to 5 privates a week with Trey alone, just learning. And man, he was James Krause's right hand man. And so he is just so calculated and so smart with all of his his game plans and his training. I mean, as soon as I got this fight book, Trey came out and straight up wrote up an entire game plan for me, and we've just been drilling this nonstop, which I think is a very important factor to have. And so I've been able to take advantage of that and kind of being able to drill the things that I want to drill. Man, I love marathon. It's like a small little family, and it's great. I get to it's completely different doing jujitsu with only fighters versus doing jujitsu with people that only practice jujitsu
Right. Yeah.
because like they are good, and it's complete because usually fighters are just trying to stand up, and I've learned a lot here in the 3 months I've been training at Marathon.
Good for you, man. Glad to hear it's all worked out. And yeah, again, I know every fighter is different, but you do hear that often where you want that specialized training. It's focused to you, so there's a lot of benefits to doing what you're doing as well. And we'll talk more about camp in a sec here. You're going to Singapore. I mentioned it there off the top. Do you like this? Like some fighters like seeing the world. Others are like, you know what? I'd rather have like a 2-hour plane ride instead of like a really long one. What were your thoughts when they offered you the Singapore opportunity?
Actually, I manifested it. Actually, I swear.
Oh, really? Okay.
I had a family friend. He was on the phone with me like probably about, I don't know, 6 weeks ago, or about 8 weeks ago, and he's like, "Hey, so like, when are you gonna fight next?" And I'm like, we're trying to like figure something out. I've been in touch with my manager, and like we're looking at like maybe October or whatever. Most likely be Vegas, but I would really like to go to Singapore. I know that card's coming up in about 6 weeks, and I'd really love to be a part of that. And like 4 days later, Jason hits me up with hey, are you interested in this opponent? It's going to be in Singapore. And I was like, awesome. Like, this is meant to be. I'm excited to go to Singapore and see what it's all about. And, I'm getting there a couple days early. Actually, my flight leaves at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Oh,
So,
really? Oh, nice.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm going to be there for about 10 days in total. And I'm in the process of packing right now. Of course, like I procrastinate, so I haven't packed yet. But so doing laundry, getting everything ready to go, and I leave bright and early.
Good for you, man. That's good. Yeah, lots of time to get accustomed and all that stuff, which is awesome. That's a big point. Who's making the trip with you? I imagine Trey will go. Who else is going to be going with you?
Trey's going. He's going to be going a couple of days later. He runs his business. He can't be there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
And Evan Elder.
Of course. Yeah. Evan's at Killcliff. Yeah, of course. He was actually back in Missouri. When I interviewed him, he was back home for a bit. So I'm sure you guys got to see each other and stuff, right?
So he was in St. Louis. I'm in Kansas City, so it's about a 5-hour drive.
Canadian over here. Don't know the Missouri area very well, so forgive me.
Yeah, no, it's a 4-hour drive. So I didn't get to see him, but like we always keep up with each other, and he's always asking how I'm doing, and he's actually helped me out with a lot of my weight cuts. And that dude just has such great energy to be around, man. I love being around him, and just brings a positive influence and positive energy around you. So I'm excited to bring him around. He's going to be making the trip out with me. We actually meet up in San Francisco and we fly out together. So it kind of worked out any more perfect. So super excited.
And a fellow Shamrock FC vet like yourself, right? That's a promotion I always like giving a little shout out to, because I know that's helped a lot of you guys kind of get to where you need to, which is cool. Let's talk about your opponent here. 13 fight vet. I know he lost his debut. How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I match up very well against him. He is a jiu-jitsu fighter. He's not a strong wrestler. He does have good wall takedowns. Again, that's like something that I've worked so much. That's like a big part of my game that's developed a lot since going with Trey. I didn't really get to work it too much previously, but I mean, I've just been hammering it the past 3 months because I told him straight up the first week, like, Trey, this is where I know that I need to get work on. Next thing you know, man, we're doing it every day pretty much. And so I match up very well against this type of fighter. He comes forward, straightforward, with not much head movement. And if you've watched any of my regional fights coming up, that's always a big mistake with me, is when people come straight forward, because, I hit hard, I hit fast, and I'm accurate as can be. So I know that is going to it's going to play in my favor for sure. And I know once he feels my power, he's going to kind of back off the pressure a little bit and be like, all right, we got to figure out how to get in without getting hit. So I match up well with this fighter. Again, he is talented on jiu-jitsu. That's something I've also worked on a lot with Trey. And, man, I'm excited to show everybody, how my skill set has progressed.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. So I know, as far as I know, at your gym, I just mentioned it there, Miles Johns, Mike Breeden. Anyone else, any other names there, even any up-and-comers you're working with that we might be hearing about pretty soon?
Yeah, one especially, Alex Gomez. He's a 1-0 pro. He's having trouble finding fights because, like, he is way, how do I say this? He's very developed for where he's at in his career. He's only 1-0 as a pro, but Trey's molded him into this, this little killer. And man, he brings great rounds. And so, between him, Mike, Miles, Trey, and a couple of other guys that, always bring the fight and always bring that pressure, just like my opponent will. Man, it's been a great camp. And, I touched base on this in my last interview I did, but Gordon Ride kind of said this in a podcast once. He's like, well, 80% of my rounds are against guys that aren't super experienced. and then the rest of my rounds are against high level guys, of course. And I kind of thought about that, and it's hard. It's a little bit more difficult to learn against guys that are extremely talented because you can't ever get into that position that you need. And so, I'm able to break up some of my rounds into guys that aren't as experienced, so I can practice these moves and get these like brain pathways so that I can just do this on autopilot. And then I just kind of scale it up. So, good against guys that aren't super experienced and a little bit experienced, and then trying against guys like Miles and Mike and Trey. And it's been a big part of my game that, I firmly believe helps out a ton.
We talked about the travel. How does that impact the weight cut? Again, you've been off for a bit. I know you're always making weight, but does that alter at all? Like, do you, in terms of, well, I guess you're going to be there 10 days before, but I mean, even like scoping out the food over there and all that, like, have you kind of mapped that out yet?
No, I mean, I have looked at, like, there's a lot of markets all in the area, but I'm bringing my food scale, my weight scale,
Nice.
and I'm not too far out. I woke up at 151 this morning, and I always try to be at least 148 by Monday. And man, I'm on track with my last weight cut as well, and so it's gonna be a breeze. I've never been one that has terrible weight cuts. I usually stay pretty lean, and so I think I know it's gonna go well. It's gonna go smooth. You know, the traveling only takes out like a day and a half, and so it's gonna be extra rest I'm gonna get. I'm gonna be able to go sightsee, and because I get there Saturday night, and so then I have all day Sunday to adjust to the time, and get ready to start fight week on Monday.
How's this fight playing out on September 26th? How do you see it going down?
I'm going to get the finish. I believe that I'm going to TKO him or KO him. It doesn't matter what round. I'm not going to sit here and specifically say what round. I'm going to stay composed. I'm going to stay smart. I'm going to go out there and show the world who Garrett Armfield is. People are going to remember me after this fight.
That's awesome, man. Looking forward to it. Do you want to get one more fight in this year? Is that kind of the plan? I know you're going to be doing a lot of traveling for this fight, but is that, just to kind of keep active? Would that be ideal for you, getting one more in?
Yeah, it would be. I don't really get to pick when I get to fight at this point in my career where I'm at, and that's completely fine with me. UFC says, you want to fight now? I say yes. So I'm going to be looking at, I would like to fight December, hopefully one of those last cards of the year. And then I can take the holidays and like kind of celebrate with family, relax. I'm going to be right back into training. I'm going to take about a week off, and then Miles Johns has a fight coming up. He's there. Well, I mean, like, he's always there for my camps. It's only been one camp so far, but he was there. And so I'm going to get right back there, and I'm going to help him prepare.
There we go. Garrett, thanks so much for doing this, man. Glad to see you get this opportunity. Let's hope it all, no issues, nothing like that. We'll knock on wood there. But there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah. Shout out to all my sponsors. Thank you guys so much for helping me out. My biggest one is OnlyFans. They've done a tremendous job helping the fighters. And, shout out to my family. And all my teammates, Trey Ogden with Marathon MMA, and everybody at Kill Cliff as well, and Springfield Fight Club, all those places that helped me get to the point where I'm at today. I do not forget them. You guys need to follow me. It's Garrett Armfield 135 on Instagram and Armfield 135 on Twitter. Set your alarms. I'll be fighting at like 6 a.m. on ESPN. So please wake up for that, guys. I'm telling you, it's one that you're not going to want to miss.